How's it going, everyone? It is I, Anime Outlet, and this is part 5 of What If Deku was the son of Nezu. And now, before we begin, I would just like to ask you all to please consider subscribing, as it really does help this channel out, and you can even be notified when the other parts of this series do end up coming out. And now, let's begin. Right as Ito was about to respond to Izuku, a flying Nomu would come out of nowhere. As Izuku would see this, the Nomu would come down, trying to grab him. However, he would roll out of the way before breathing fire, exterminating the Nomu, causing it to just disintegrate in the blaze. As Izuku, through his training, had his Gork evolve even further, to the point where he can just use the abilities of his beasts without turning into them. However, they're quite weakened when he's doing this, so he's not as strong as if he would be if he was in the actual beast or animal form. So that Izuku would then look towards Ida and ask, "So, what was that?" He would say as Ida would only shake his head. You're fine, Izuku. You did nothing wrong. You heard us trying to save us. So, and even then, we would have possibly been killed if you didn't do anything about that bird monster. So, actually, I'd like to thank you." Izuku would nod his head, thanking Ida for understanding. As we now, it's a day ahead, as we see Izuku walking into Nezu's office, or his father's. "Hello, Father. I guess we meet again, finally. Guess you can stop the search efforts for me," Izuku would say, as Nezu would only just laugh, sipping some tea. "Well, I've already cancelled them. Ida told me about you, but I told him to keep it a secret besides from me. I want to see the look on Aizawa and the rest of your classmates' faces," Nezu would say, as Izuku would get an evil smirk. "Oh, that would actually be quite fun," he would say, as Nezu would only nod his head. As would then both walk down towards Class 1A, as Nezu would then walk into the room, saying that he was here to announce that they are going to be taking their final exams today. All of a sudden, however, Izuku would end up stepping into the room and just giving off a simple "yo," you would say. However, one student would end up getting up, walking right behind him, as this student, being Chako Uraka, would then raise her fist above Izuku before slamming it down into Izuku's head. "You idiot! We were all worried about you over a month for nothing!" She would yell as Izuku would look at her like, "Some of us even thought you were dead," she would continue. Izuku would only keep on kind of awkwardly laughing. "I actually just decided to train for that time. Sorry if I worried you at all," he would say, so the rest of the class would only blatantly look at him like he was a complete idiot. As Izuku would go sit back down, Aizawa would continue with the lesson, saying that they are now going to be taking the final exams. As a day would pass after they took the written exams, as it was finally time for the main exams, as Izuku would end up looking up onto the board, where he would see, however, that as a warm-up, and just to test if Izuku really was ready and to see if his month-long training session actually worked, he's going to be facing off against all of Class 1A one more time, right before all of them had to face off against the heroes. So Izuku, not wanting to hurt their chances and make them take summer school by injuring them, he would go as weak as he possibly could. Well, not exactly, just weak enough so that he could easily defeat them all, but it's still going to not hurt them at all, not like if he went full dragon strength and just one-punched everybody. So as Izuku would walk up onto the arena, he would start to stretch, as you would then hear some of his classmates talking that he's probably washed up, having not to fight for quite a while. As Aizawa would begin after telling Izuku to go easy on them, as he would then rush towards them. As all of them would rush right at Izuku, Izuku would easily dodge many of their attacks or blocking them with ease before grabbing Uraraka's fist, turning it, and then punching her across the face, as he would then turn around, kicking someone right in the head, this being Kaminari, taking out two of them with ease, as he would then look towards everyone else, he would then transform into a dragon, looking on at all of them, as some of them would just only look on just in complete shock. I guess the rumors were true. He can turn into mythical beasts, one of them would say. As Izuku would be staring down at them, many of them would just walk out. However, Bakugo and Todoroki would be the only ones left, as all of the others wanted to save their energy. As Izuku would stare down at them, he would then turn into a tiny lizard falling down to the ground as he would then walk over towards Bakugo. Bakugo would be looking wherever Izuku was, as Izuku would start to walk up onto Bakugo's leg. As Bakugo would start to feel this, he would look down as all of the sun, Izuku would then transform into a massive phoenix, as he would then spray Bakugo with fire, as the fire would just completely consume Bakugo, and so would it do to Todoroki. As Izuku would then evaporate the fire, causing it to extinguish, he would then see both Bakugo and Todoroki were standing there completely unharmed, as Izuku had made the flames just visual and not really painful. So, with that out of the way, they could finally commence with the hero final exams. As Izuku would be reading down a list, he would find that he just happened to be paired up with Uchako Uraraka, the same person that just happened to slam her fist right down into Izuku's head. Great, Izuku would think. He also found out he would be versing All Might. Even better, now he can show his true strength and teamwork. As Izuku's classmates, some of them would go while some of them wouldn't. As they had failed or passed all of this, Izuku's match just happened to be the grand finale. He was facing off against the #1 hero after all. So as Izuku would walk in, would stare down all the way on the opposite side of the city, knowing that All Might was all the way down there. As Izuku, knowing All Might was all the way down there, as the match would begin, Izuku would tell Uraraka that All Might's probably going to be here any time now, as all of a sudden All Might would pop out of nowhere, going to take out Uraraka, hoping to take out the weakest first. However, Izuku would step in, blocking All Might's punch, as he would look over towards Uraraka and giving her a nod as she would and rush off, hoping to try to make it towards the other exit, and that would also give them the victory. However, All Might would break free of Izuku's grip and would rush to go try to capture Uraraka. However, he wasn't fast enough, as Izuku would then be right in front of Uraraka. She continued on running, as he would transform into a massive dragon, spewing fire from his mouth, causing it to go right at All Might. Getting a direct hit, he would be sent flying backwards, slamming into a dumpster. He would pick himself up before rushing off, as him hitting that dumpster had caused all of his weights to break off. As All Might, now going 100%, would rush over towards Izuku, punching the dragon square across the face. However, Izuku wouldn't budge, grabbing onto All Might before spinning round and round, throwing All Might into a massive just grouping of buildings. As they would all start to pile and topple over onto All Might would slowly pick himself up out of there. As he would now be staring directly on at Izuku, he would rush over towards the dragon, grabbing him. However, Izuku would transform into a tiny little lizard before scattering away into the shadows. All Might would look on to where Izuku had gone to. However, Izuku would then appear from right behind All Might, now as a phoenix, as he would spray fire all over All Might, causing massive burns to go all over his body. As All Might would be sent flying down after being sprayed with fire, he would look up to see Izuku coming right back down at him. As All Might would barely try to dodge this, however, it was too late. Izuku slammed both of his fists, now as a gorilla, right into All Might's chest, causing immense pain in the old hero. As the old hero would end up backing up once more, he would make a run for it, hoping that he could outrun Izuku. As Izuku would end up transforming into a Pegasus, a horse with wings, as this horse would end up running it while also flying, and would end up making it to All Might with extreme ease, having been insanely fast. As Izuku now there, he would transform into a gorilla, punching All Might right across the face, sending him down into a dumpster. As Izuku would then grab this dumpster, and would then fling the dumpster as a dragon now, as he would then fly out of the city, as Izuku would then walk out the entrance as Uraraka had already made it there. All of Izuku's classmates just looked on in complete shock. He just beat the #1 hero, All Might. Yeah, he's strong, but he's this strong? Many of them would think, even after taking 1 month break from UA? Nezu really wasn't worried about this since Izuku had passed the first year like twice already by now, so he really couldn't care less. However, with Izuku beating All Might, Nezu would also be impressed. He didn't think Izuku was actually that strong. However, he was severely mistaken, as Izuku had thrown All Might completely out of the arena. As Izuku would be given the victory along with Uraraka, they would then be told that they are now dismissed for a week as a break and just as a gift, as after that weekend break, they are going to be going to the summer training camp, and that's where they're going to be training as a hell for 1 week. They're going to be training day and night, day after day, for exactly 7 days. So you best prepare yourself by getting outside and running each day, at least, as he would say before walking off, dismissing all of the students. As they would all just walk off to go do their own thing, Izuku would be walking away, as Bakugo would then walk up to Izuku before saying that Izuku isn't much far above him, and that he's going to catch up to him any day now, and he's going to be able to defeat him. Izuku would look over towards Bakugo before laughing. "Good luck with that, Bakugo," he would say. So Bakugo would only shake his head, grabbing Izuku's arm as he was trying to leave. "You don't get it, Izuku. I'm going to beat you in a fight. Whether it's today, tomorrow, or a year from now, it's going to happen." Izuku would stare on at Bakugo before just laughing. "Alright, Bakugo, why don't we go ahead and have a one-on-one right here? Let's see if you'll actually beat me, or if it will be in an eternity from now." Izuku would say, as Bakugo would only smile, as he would jump at Izuku, going for an explosion. However, Izuku would dodge, grabbing Bakugo's neck, slamming him down onto the ground. As Bakugo's desire to win would make his quirk evolve, as he could now shoot explosions out from his own feet, as he would use explosions in his feet who get out of Izuku's grasp, now floating into the air, as Izuku would then transform into a tiny little bird flying into the air as well, before he would then fly into a tree. As another bird, the exact same Izuku had transformed into, would fly out of the tree as Bakugo would go over and grab it, before cooking it into a massive piece of fried chicken. However, Izuku would end up appearing right out of the tree, right as Bakugo was doing this, before just getting punched by a gorilla. So Bakugo would flop down onto the ground. Izuku would then look at him. "I guess it's over then. Guess you're not gonna beat me for a while. However, at least I'll train you a little bit by sparring with you, as I don't really see how much stronger I can get besides unlocking and causing my quirk to evolve even further. But anyway, goodbye, Bakugo," Izuku would say, as the class would then orchestrate some type of meetup at a mall. Since they all live in the same dorm rooms, they would all meet up at a mall or just shopping for all of the things Nezu had given them, such as just 7 pairs of clothes, and that's about it. As they would all do that, would then walk back, as the entire night would go out with no problems at all. As we now see Izuku training for the next week, as he didn't want to just be left behind in his training, in case other people are intensely training and he could possibly be left behind if he didn't train for a week. Izuku knew this probably wasn't possible, however he still didn't want any chance of it happening. And that is where part 5 of What If Deku Was the Son of Nezu comes to an end. I hope you all did enjoy it, and if you did, please consider subscribing, as it really does help this channel out. And yeah, thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye!